Hey guys, what's up? Sloppy here, and today we're talking about the Super Bowl using Madden, of course. Panthers, Broncos ranked at 95 and 93 in the most updated rosters, although they're a little skewed because Peyton Manning is still ranked incredibly high, which I'm not against, obviously. He's earned a high ranking, but I don't think it accurately represents what's the Peyton Manning's going to be in the Super Bowl, although he has 2 weeks off, and he didn't look terrible in the last game. His throws were a little off with the accuracy, but as a whole, a lot better than I think most people expected. Anyway, let's just jump in and talk about Carolina's offense first, because that's what's on the screen. Obviously, Cam Newton is pretty incredible. He can stretch a defense. He's got legs. They have got a good running game, good offensive line. Stewart can bust a big one or just grind for small yards. I think they're going to have a tough time, though. Aqib Talib and Chris Harris are two of the best corners in the game, and, well, Ted Ginn's not one of the best receivers in the game, so I think they're going to have a hard time. Also, TJ Ward, I think, is one of the few safeties that might be able to at least control Greg Olsen, if not stop him. So they're going to have to rely on their run game, and that's tough because, they got a good run defense, too. Also, if he does drop back to pass, they love those deep passes to their wide receivers, and Von Miller on one side, you got Wolf, you got DeMarcus Ware. Might be hard. I mean, Cam can buy so much time, but those are top end pass rushers. So it'll be interesting to see if Cam Newton can pull this together. It's the best defense I think he's faced all year, and he struggled a lot in the second half of Seattle. Obviously, they did well in the first half, but that second half he was pretty much invisible. So I think it'll be interesting to see if the Broncos can shut him down. Get some sacks, stop that run game will be big. I think that'll be an interesting thing to see happen. And I'm curious to see how the Carolina offense plays. All right, let's talk about Carolina's defense now. So there's a big thing that they have to do to stop the run, and I think they're a perfect defense to do that. They've got amazing defensive tackles in Latulle and Short. Their defensive ends are great at stopping the run. Well, great. They're very decent at stopping the run. Jared Allen sets a very hard edge these days, which is nice to see. Also, they've got Kuechly in the middle, which not only is he good at stopping the run, he's probably the best inside linebacker in football. But the other thing is, he's very good against screen passes and short intermediate throws. And I'm just curious to see if Peyton, last game, he kind of lacked the accuracy. He had a lot of people open deep, and he missed a lot of them, to be honest. I'm just curious, if he has that accuracy, it's a completely different game, but he didn't have it last week. He hasn't really had it all season. So a lot of those short underneath throws are going to be taken away and dangerous with Kuechly in the middle. They've got a very good linebacker core. The only thing I'm worried about is Josh Norman on one side. He's got either Sanders or Thomas, depending who they want to put him on. The other guy is kind of open. You got Daniels, you got Sanders, you got Thomas to defend, and I don't think they can really match up that well. So if Peyton can throw it, with some sort of semblance of accuracy to the outside, I think it's going to be a very long day for that defense. Because, even Curse and a few other people on the Seahawks team got open. And, in that Arizona game, there were some open throwing lanes to the receivers. Palmer was just off all game, but that's sort of a different thing. So I think it could be a long day if Peyton has some accuracy, but I think this defense will stop the run and force Peyton into throwing, which will be interesting to see if he can. So anyway, let's move on. And let's talk about that Broncos offense. Obviously, recently they've been relying on the run and then some pretty easy throws. I think this game is going to be very hard to rely on the run. They might be still able to do it. It's a pretty good offensive line. It's not great, but at the same time, they're playing a very good defensive line. So it's going to be hard for them to establish any semblance of running game. Although they do tend to break off some decent 15-yard runs occasionally. I think they'll stick with the run, but I don't think they'll have any success. But then again, I think their defense will keep it close enough, whereas, they don't have to rely on the run too much. They can, they won't have to air it out to catch up, I think. So that's going to be cool to see. I think if Peyton can throw deep, it's going to be a very different game. I've said that before. If you can throw accurately, I think they have a very good chance at winning, just because I don't think that they can cover these receivers. The short passes across the middle just aren't going to work against his team. Neither is running, I don't think. So it's going to be up to Peyton's arm, but I think there's going to be some open throws deep if he can, throw it accurately. Anywho, it really all comes down to Peyton's arm, doesn't it? That'll be an interesting thing to see. All right, last up, let's talk about that Broncos defense. Quite possibly the best defense in football. Quite possibly, it's a high possibility that it is. They're pretty much good from back to front. They've got great corners. They've got a great secondary as a whole. They've got a great defensive line. They can stop the run with Williams and Wolf and whatnot on the defensive line. They've got a pretty good linebacking core with Trevathan and everything. I think it'll be interesting to see if they can really stop the run if the Panthers go to some sort of read option. I think they can just because TJ Ward's back there, and I don't know if Carolina wants to put Cam Newton on too many naked read options with TJ Ward spotting him. TJ Ward hits very hard and he comes in very fast, so I think that'll be interesting. But if they can contain Newton, it'll be a very different game. And if they can, make the Panthers throw the ball, it'll be interesting just because their secondary is so good that I'm not sure where Cam will throw the ball unless Greg Olsen has a massive day, which I don't think he will because I think they can. The Broncos can stop him. So it'll be interesting to see. The Super Bowl is going to be a great game, I think. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think the Broncos are going to win. I know everyone's kind of picking Carolina. I'm going out on a limb. I think the Broncos defense will just kind of carry them to victory. But I'm intrigued to see. I think either way it's going to be, a great game. And I think it's going to be a cool win. Either Cam Newton and all of that stuff, or Peyton Manning wins one last one. I think either way it's going to be a really good time, and I'm looking forward to it. We'll probably talk about it next week. So thanks for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, because we'll be doing more Madden videos soon, probably about the draft and stuff, because I'm curious. Also, Alabama #1 recruiting class. Ew. So yeah, I'll see you guys after the Super Bowl. Cheers.